Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have joined the October 14th, 2021 Camp Springs Civic Association Community Meeting, welcoming our president, Miss Monique Taylor.
Good evening.
On mute, Miss Monique, sorry.
Sorry about that. Again, good evening, Camp Springs and friends. Welcome to our second community meeting of the fiscal year. I hope and pray that you are doing well and staying safe. Thank you to those who are interested in volunteering. Please be on the lookout. We will be scheduling a meeting to answer questions of your committee choices. I just want to thank everyone that volunteered and participated in some way at the Camp Spring meetup. Special thanks to our coordinator, Sam Williams. For those who didn't make it, you did miss a treat, but no worries. We are planning other events. We are sending our newsletters out on the first Thursday of the month. It was sent via email. If you did not receive it or other correspondence via email from us, check your social, promotional, and junk mailboxes. The emails are more than likely in one of those mailboxes. We want to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Ladies, please do your monthly checks of your breasts and get your mammogram. We also want to recognize the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is also in October. If you need to contact the National Domestic Hotline, the number is 1-800-799-SAFE or 7233. That's 1-800-799-SAFE 7233. And we also want to remind everyone, if you have not been vaccinated and your doctor says it's safe, please get vaccinated. Well, we have an action-packed agenda. Without further ado, let's welcome our COPS officers. So I see that we have Corporal Miller on the line. Corporal Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. How y'all doing?
Great to see you. Thank you for coming out this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you. So today I have stats for the Oxon Hill district. For this month, so far we had one commercial robbery, which actually happened in the 5600 block of St. Marvis Road. We have, surprisingly, right now, we only had 3 to this date residential break-ins, especially in that area. We had one carjacking, and the last one we had was this Thursday. And actually, we had one today, too, so that it's not on this list yet. We had one shooting, which totaled for 3 in the last 7 days. The closest one occurred on Monday, the 11th. Commercial robberies, we went over that. Theft from autos, that's still big. We had a total of 13. That's throughout the district the division, I'm sorry, because it changed the name for our station. Other than that, when I'm looking in the Camp Springs area, we had, in that immediate area, we had one theft from auto from the 5400 block of Old Temple Hills Road. And once again, like Major has always told you, and I've always been saying over the last years, please be aware of your surroundings when you're out at the gas stations. Because have you seen carjackings are up throughout the DMV area? And please, if you have items in your car and it's just sitting around, I don't care if it's a penny, please remove that. These people are breaking in people's cars for things that you wouldn't believe that they would break in for. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Mr. Tay Harris.
Hello.
Hi.
Uh, I have a few questions for you, sir. The first question is, and first off, thank you for your report. The council voted to close the Club Ecstasy. It's a Nico Banquet Hall at 63060 Branch Avenue. We have been informed that they are still in operation and noticed activity in that location. We're following up to determine if there have been any updates to ensure that this operation is closed according to the law passed by the council.
So as you know, Allentown Road is the divider for Division 4
Yeah, that's
and
Division
Division
5.
5. That's the Clinton Station.
Okay.
So you would actually have to ask the District 5 cops officer, or I can look it up or call in and find the information because I don't handle that side of the street. So and I do work with DPI and all of them, but most of the time it's around in y'all neighborhood and stuff like that. So I could call one of them and ask.
We'll follow up with Corporal Podak. I'm not sure if he's on the call yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question is, the county has procured 60 cameras to be placed in residential areas with speed limits of 35 miles per hour and less. This was to become effective in October. Are there any updates?
Actually, we don't control that. So we get an email warning us where cameras are at. They haven't gave us any update on it, so I will have to call and check in on that because that's actually a whole different division that handles that.
Okay. So you said for them to send you an email if
Yeah,
they.
I can send them an email to ask them and get back to Monique with the answer.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we'll make sure that information gets out to the community. Next is any status on the shooting/killing on Summerhill Road?
That I would still have to contact the homicide. You know, most of the time, when a homicide happens after initial patrol get over there, homicide takes over. So I will have to go call one of them and see. Actually, one of them just called me yesterday. I would have to call and ask one of them information if they would give it to me on.
Thank you. Are there any status on the break-ins at the new restaurants by Branch Avenue Metro Station?
No, we still working on that. Had some good videos. I've been past there, talked to a couple of the owners and the business. It's just one of them was I did get some information that I relayed to the detectives about kids in the neighborhood over there coming past and watching the place. So so I think they're investigating, trying to ID people in the videos that one of the business owners had.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get ahead of the illegal dumping that has been occurring. If we see it, we need to contact the police, but are there any other means, especially if it happens and we become aware after the occurrence?
Tag numbers. That's the biggest thing. Even if you kind of get a partial tag number, to give you an instance, the two abandoned houses on Old Branch across from the thrift store, we had a guy dumping tires there, and we was able to get a partial tag number off off his truck that he was using. And believe it or not, out of 4,000 cars, I narrowed it down to 11. And I just happened to one day saw a car like that, pulling the trailer, stopped him, and guess who it was? Our guy who was dumping the tires. So I was able to cite him several citations for that, and for violations for his truck mainly. So I'm just waiting for my court date for that in court. So the biggest thing, if you see somebody dumping trash, if you can get that tag number, that'll help us out a lot. Because you might be able to tie that tag number into other trash dumping. And like for me, for instance, I talk to DC a lot about illegal dumping because they have a real good program over there. So they share a lot of seven district. They share a lot of information with me on stuff. So when people give me information, I call them, and they can sometimes tell me who's the person dumping the items by the stuff that they're dumping.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's another question about cameras, so that may need to be for Corporal Polnack about, but this time on Brinkley Road.
No,
So
Brinkley Road. Yeah, that still would be me.
okay. So same deal, but if I understand correctly, you said you're going to send an email and then get some information for us about what we can do to progress that. All right. That's all I have. If we could just wait 8 seconds just to see if there's any more questions from the Facebook. Okay. It doesn't look like there are any. Thank you for your time as always, and we really appreciate you.
And I'll still be on if anybody got any questions for me.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Corporal Miller.
Anytime.
We're going to move around. We have a special guest that we want to introduce you to. He can't be on the call too much longer right now, but we're going to bring him back to the community. But we want to introduce you to Mr. Wendell Williams. He works for Prince George's County Social Services. He is our homeless navigator. So we just want him to say a couple of words to you tonight, and then we will circle back at another meeting to have him give us a full report. Mr. Williams.
Thanks, Ms. Taylor. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been a long, trying day. Hey, Miller, what's happening, Miller?
Sir, good to hear from you. Always good to see you.
Yeah, Miller and I have had to come together to work on some very difficult situations involving the homeless and homeless encampments in the Oxon Hill, Camp Springs area. So he knows how difficult it is sometimes. You know, I was called by Ms. Taylor in reference to, is there anything that social services can do about some of the situations that may be a sort of a thorn in the side of some of the residents of your community? And Corporal Miller will tell you that not only am I out there every day, but my two colleagues who work the other parts of the county, we spend 8 hours on the street working with people like Corporal Miller in the cops unit in an attempt to broker some digestible solutions for all parties concerned to people who are homeless and maybe, what's the word I want? Maybe impacting the community negatively. It's a very difficult task. It's a cat and mouse game, as Ms. Taylor was able to see a little bit of yesterday. And most of the time I hear people saying, why isn't social services doing something about that? And as Corporal Miller can tell you, social services is me in your area. And I'm always out there 8 hours a day trying to do something about it. The problem that we face, which impacts you, is that the majority of the people that you do see out there, they simply refuse services. They do not have to accept our services. They do not have to accept help. I can simply tell you on any given day, 90% of the people that I make an offer to get them off the street flatly refuse. So it makes it really difficult for people like Corporal Miller and really uncomfortable for members of your community. And it's not for lack of trying on my part and my colleagues in social services. You know, we have some problems that are much deeper than they appear, and I don't think they're being addressed. And since this meeting is being recorded, I have to make my words very measured because I am speaking as an county employee today. But if you'd like to speak to me off of the record, off of Zoom, I'm sure Ms. Taylor can get you in touch with me. What I can say on the record, there's always a couple different efforts for solution in the problem of homelessness and the unpleasant aftermath of homelessness, like panhandling. What I want people to know is I've been doing this 26 years now, and I'm a certified peer recovery specialist specializing in homelessness, and I'm also an ACAC. And I spent most of those 26 years working in drug treatment, and mainly with men and women who have become homeless as a result of their addictions and mental health issues. And I want people to understand that homelessness is not a virus. People don't catch it. It is a direct indication of something else going on in a person's life. I very rarely see people who are clean and sober become homeless. There's a lot going on in our community that nobody wants to take a look at, and we need to take a look at it. There's not a lot you can do, and I know Ms. Taylor was very discouraged when I told her that, but I want to talk about very briefly about the things that you can do and encourage your neighbors to do. I want everybody to think about this when I say this. If people were not giving people money at the intersections and the highway ramps in the medium strips of your community, panhandlers wouldn't come there. Think about that for a minute. Does anybody remember the movie when they said, if you build it, they will come? That's what we have in your community. We have a very lucrative crossroads at Allentown Road and Branch Avenue, both sides of the overpass near the Dunkin' Donuts as well as the Royal Farms. And you have a liquor store across the street with 7-Eleven next to it. It's kind of the perfect storm of panhandling. And people are getting on the bus and coming from other areas of the county to occupy those corners and that underpass. I've worked very hard to get the tents off the sidewalk. If some of you guys remember when you came off of that exit northbound on Branch, they had gotten to the point where the tents were all right next to the curb. So we have some small victories in getting them out of sight, but yet the activity that brings people to your area is still going on. And in a very quick suggestion, that's something that you can do, because I hear people asking me and they sound like they're so powerless and discouraged that they can make a change. And I want to tell you that you can make a change in some of the conditions that you don't enjoy or appreciate in your community. It all starts with each one of you guys taking every opportunity that you can to explain to your neighbors, friends, and family members that it is not good to give money to panhandlers. Ms. Taylor can tell you, we sat there and we filmed some of them yesterday, the number of members of your community giving dollar bills to the people standing out on the medium yesterday. And I think, Ms. Taylor, we were there about an hour, hour and a half.
We were there for an hour and a half.
Yes, and we
Yes.
watch people collect buku money, as they used to say. And Ms. Taylor was about to go, and I said, no, Ms. Taylor, don't leave yet. Let's wait and see what happens next. So Ms. Taylor was able to witness in her own eyes what happens next. And people don't stand on the corners and panhandle for money because they're homeless or hungry. This is my life's work. This is what I do. I understand what drives a human being, especially a man, to stand out with a cup and beg other grown people for money. And it's not because you're hungry. You've got a Dunkin' Donuts and a Royal Farms and McDonald's not too far away. And after a few people giving me a few dollars, if I was hungry, it would be very easy to walk to one of those locations and get something to eat. But I know through my other work what drives people to do that. And when people continuously put dollars in those cups or larger bills in the cups, they ensure that people will be out there even longer and more people will eventually come to take a bite off of that apple. So there's a lot of things that need to be done. There's a lot of things I like to talk about off of the record, but what can be done, and I will suggest that's done on the record, is that you guys start to talk together and explain to people that you should not give money to people panhandling. If you kind of feel like you want to help and you feel moved, give that money to an organization or a church that has a ministry or works directly with the homeless. Because I submit to you that most of the people you see on your corners and on your freeway ramps are not what I would call homeless classic. I would call them homeless scammers. And they give a bad name to people who are truly homeless and struggling, trying to make it and improve their lives. I told Ms. Taylor, as I called her back later on yesterday, that the same couple that we saw out there panhandling right there on that medium strip, I saw them later on that evening when I was coming down Southern Avenue near Wheeler Road in a known heroin area, walking with people that I know to be heroin addicts and doing what I'm pretty sure is buying heroin. So it didn't take too long for the answer to come to fruition, did Ms. Taylor, that you get to see where your money goes when you feel sorry for them and you give them money. I am not unfeeling. I am not uncompassionate and unsupportive and unsympathetic to people who are out there. But what I am sure about is that when you give money on the street, 99.9% of the time, it goes to self-destructive kind of means and behavior. So the one thing that your community can do, based on listening to me tonight, is start to have a real serious conversation about cutting off the spigot of money that flows on your corners, your ramps, and your byways. If that happens, you'll literally cut your panhandlers 75%. Because they're not coming if the money's not there. Understand that. It is the money and the talk amongst each other about how lucrative it is that continues to drive them there. And when two people leave, as Ms. Taylor saw, two other people step up and take their place on the same corners and the same ramps. So the only thing that can guarantee and will assure that there'll be a difference is that your community understand the difference between giving money away and responsible giving. You guys got to come more attuned to what responsible giving looks like. When I give money, I want it to bear good fruit. That's the intention of people when they give people money on the street. But as I showed Ms. Taylor in the pictures that I sent her last night of people buying heroin with the money from your neighbors and friends that have given them right there on Branch and Allentown. So I'm glad to be here. It's always good to be able to speak to a group of people and explain some things. I could get in more detail if I had more time, but this is not going to go away unless the citizens of this community get angry, get tough, and start to hold each other accountable. Does anybody remembers when certain areas had trouble with prostitution and they started to videotape the Johns, and then legislation was passed to confiscate people's cars who were caught patronizing Johns? Is that kind of thought that works when a community gets angry about something. I can't tell you what to do on this call because it is recorded and it's not my job, but I can tell you that you can just simply stop giving money to people in front of your liquor stores, in front of your 7-Elevens, and on your street corners. That's enough out of me. I feel you, and I don't think you guys are powerless. I think you guys got more power to make a change on this than you even realize. Everybody just got to move together, lockstep, and understand that you're not being callous or harsh. You're actually helping people save their lives, because the sooner the money stops, the sooner people will start to think about doing something different. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We would like to have you back so we can get in more details, because I know that you have to go.
I'm going to hang around for about 5 or 10 more minutes
Okay,
in case anybody's shooting me some questions,
okay,
and then I'll go. Okay.
thank you. Is there any questions at this time?
Yes. One is a question / request. There was a thank you for the information. Can the Camp Springs Civic Association list places to give money to help the homeless, specifically for this area? So if we have a list or a couple of places that you could share now, that'd be great. But also, if we could also put that on our website or the Facebook page, that'd be wonderful as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are plenty of places. I have favorite charities that I know work with the homeless. There's a church on St. Barnabas Road that feeds the homeless. There's just a whole bunch of places. There's the place in Coral Hills. There's the Love Ministries. There's plenty of places. You can find them. And your church. Find out if your church has any part of their ministries that minister to the homeless. Instead of giving that guy at the intersection $5 or $10, give it to the church. So then you won't have that second thought in your mind. What did they do with my money? Well, if I give it to them, they may use it for alcohol and drugs. You can take all that away by giving it to an organization that you know or quite sure is doing some positive work to help affect some change instead of fueling somebody's addiction.
Thank you. And there's also a question about the shop owners in the area. So this information that you shared with us today, has there been any efforts specifically to relay that to the shop owners?
The shop owners are in a very difficult situation. I work very closely. I get calls from shop owners from Oxon Hill down to, I say this wrong all the time. Is it Cheltenham, Cheltenham, to Dayton, from shop owners with the same complaints that people are either in their parking lots harassing people for money or aggressively panhandling. And again, it's about cutting the spigot off. If we can cut the spigot of the money off, people will go somewhere else. But as a community, you may not be able to change the whole county or the whole area on this issue, but as a tight community, you can make a dent in this by getting people simply to say no. I don't want to go Nancy Reagan here, but just say no. Just say no, or do this. Are you hungry? You're really hungry? Let me go to McDonald's. I'll bring you some back. Just wait right here. And I can guarantee you 90% of the people won't be there when you get back. Or you can say, come on, walk across the street with me. I'll buy you a sandwich. I'll tell you a great number of them will say, you know, that's all right. I don't eat at McDonald's. I like Burger King, or something to that effect. You guys have to challenge people to make sure that what they're asking for is sincere. And if a guy says, I just want to get across town, I need bus fare, what I usually do is give them a smart card. In the old days, I used to keep a roll of tokens just for that. For people who hit me with that line, and if you had a way to get home, you go, yeah, I would. I'd give them 2 tokens. See, we got to be smart. They're outsmarting us, and they're playing on your emotions and on your feelings. And then in some cases, they're trying to make you feel bad about success and the good life you're living because you earned it and did the right thing. So it's our guilt and shame that makes us give in to panhandlers. So that means we have to examine ourselves too. Some people will have to suffer and reach the bottom before they'll start to go back up. And when I give them money in mass, as Ms. Taylor saw, because every time the light changes, all it takes is 2 or 3 people to give them $1 or 2 or whatever. We can see the bills, and they're back in motion again. So the more people give them money, the longer people do this, the longer that person is going to suffer in whatever abyss that they're living in. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Wendell, thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to coming by. And I look forward to talking to some of you guys off the record. Miss Taylor has my card.
Yes, thank you so much. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Look, it was a pleasure. I call it my sting operation yesterday.
And we're gonna hang out again. Corporal Ebony and I'll be down in Camp Springs tomorrow. So if anybody wants to sort of go along with us and be a voyeur, yeah, hit me up. Miss Taylor has my number, and you can certainly join us and kind of observe as to what we see and what we do while we're out there.
So are you going to be over there in the parking lot at the Dunkin' Donut?
That's usually where we meet, right there. We're gonna be there, I think, between 10 and 11 tomorrow.
So if anyone wants to be in on the sting operation, please meet Mr.
Well, we're not gonna call it a sting, but you just need to look. You just need to stand there and look for about a half hour and see what's really going on. Observation. But what's really gonna turn your head is when they start to count the money, as Miss Taylor saw them do. Start counting the money, then they roll out.
Yep.
Then they roll out, and then somebody else takes their place.
Yep.
You need to see the whole thing, and then you'll understand why we should not be giving money to people on the street that way when you don't know what they're going to get with it. If you got to guess what they're going to do with it, you shouldn't be giving your money. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Look forward to another observation.
Ms. Taylor.
You
Hey, Ms. Taylor, it's Corporal Miller.
Yes, sir.
Just to jump on what Wendell said. At that intersection right there, Wendell could tell you, some of them are regulars. They stay up at the Motel 6. So most people don't know, on Fridays and Saturdays night at the Motel 6, a room will cost you about $89 to $92. They pay that with no problem. Then some of these guys, you got a couple of regulars up there that I actually had jobs for them, because they're making so much money, they don't want to leave that intersection. They was like, what I need to do that for? I get plenty of money here. And then some of these guys you'll find in Highsville 5 hours later, panhandling in Highsville up at Peach Cross. So like he said, it's a money thing. To some of them, they tell me this is a job and they're working, and I'm interfering with their job. So just remind people when they sit at the intersection, because I had somebody get mad at us because we were stopping them and talking to them.
Oh, wow. So it's like he said, we have to stop and we have to educate the community on, because I mean, it's a lot of different issues going on in this. It's affecting the environment because they don't have a place to live. So they're, releasing themselves. It's going into our water stream. You have people that's in the middle of that intersection. It's a safety issue. Somebody can come up on the curb and hit them.
As a matter of fact, Ms. Taylor, there was an accident. I don't know if Miller's aware of it, where they ran up on that median strip. 2 cars ran straight down the median strip, almost hit that pole where they have the trash bag hanging. And by the grace of God, nobody was on the median strip panhandling that day. It was a 3-car accident. They went right up on the median, all the way down to the corner. See,
that's actually the second accident like that.
Yeah, it's a safety issue as well. So there are a couple of different things. And then if somebody's not paying attention, somebody stops real quick to hand somebody some money, then you got to reckon. When you come off of that ramp, northbound, off of Branch, and somebody's panhandling right there on the other side, what if a car jumps the curb or any of that kind of stuff? It's a serious safety issue out there. Very serious safety issue. I see drug dealers pull up behind the Social Security to serve people. Drugs and alcohol is what I do. I know what is going on. They meet them in the Royal Farms. I mean, I see it. I see the hand-to-hand. I see all these activities that maybe you don't pay attention to or don't stay around long enough to see. But I'm going to go back to my original premise. It's all fueled by people handing strangers money for whatever reason. Now, we stood at the light there and we watched the light change 3 cycles just to count, Miss Taylor and I. And if the person is walking that ramp and only 2 or 3 people give them money each light cycle, And correct me if I'm wrong, Corporal Miller, the light changes every 2 or 3 minutes, right? So multiply that by an hour or 2 hours, and you get an idea of how lucrative it is. And if you're fueling some kind of addiction or self-destructive behavior, it's good as gold. So again, stop giving them money. Tell your family and friends, we need to understand why it's not good. You're actually helping them when you don't give them the money.
Thank you. Okay, look, we appreciate both of you, and we will follow up on these issues because it is something that we're very concerned about in our community. So thank you to both of you for all the hard work that you put in. And we're going to move around a little bit on our agenda because we don't want, we have, we'll get to membership after. Let's go to our introduction to our guest speakers. Mr. Harrison.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delonte Harrison, Vice President of Camp Springs Civic Association. And unfortunately, Ms. Hawkins, our next guest speaker, couldn't be available, but she left us in good hands. And we want to introduce to you LaToya Crump, who will be introducing Carla Ukoma, who will be presenting tonight's presentation of the new PG 311 presentation. And Ms. Crump, you have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is LaToya Crump. I am a community developer in the Office of Community Relations. The Office of Community Relations' mission is to connect citizens to county government information and resources. We have some really exciting news to share with you tonight. And to share this exciting news, I would like to introduce Carla Ukoma. Carla is the content manager for the new PGC 311 system. Carla, please step up to the virtual platform and begin to unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, LaToya, and hello, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm going to share my screen, so give me just one moment while I pull up a presentation. All right. As LaToya said, we're here tonight to show you some very exciting news. We do have a new PGC 311 system coming. Unfortunately, I do not have a go live date for you just yet, but it is coming. And once our system is live, we're gonna come screaming with bells and whistles, so you're gonna know, okay? I'm super excited to show you some of the new features that have been implemented to enhance your experience with submitting service requests to the county. Our new system was built with you in mind. Our goal was to make your experience better. Our new system is easy, convenient, and accessible 24/7. We now have 3 ways for you to access PGC 311. We have a new mobile app that you can download from any app store, be it your Apple App Store or your Google Play Store. We also have a web portal. And of course, the call center is there to assist you during normal business hours. Both our mobile platform and our web portal mirror one another. So today, when I do the demonstration, I'll show you our mobile app. So just keep in mind that the web portal is the same. Our new system provides relevant and timely information. As you are submitting service requests, you'll receive information that is helpful and related to the topic that you are requesting services for. Our new system also provides real-time updates from the field. So while the field personnel is out there, let's say fixing your pothole, as soon as they fill that pothole, they're going to update that service request right there at that time. So it's no longer a delay in communication. So you're going to know exactly what's going on and when. Detailed communication. Your service request will never get closed without some communication to you. You're going to get email confirmations that your service request was submitted. email confirmations that it was completed. You're going to get field comments throughout the lifetime of your service request. Anytime they do anything, they investigate, etc. Also, our service request process is smart and adaptive. What that means is as you're entering information, the service request will begin to move in the direction that's going to push you to the right agency. So your service request always gets responded to in a timely manner. This is a screenshot of what your new mobile app will look like. All right, you literally have the county services at your fingertips. You can submit service requests. You can review recently submitted service requests across the county. And in one remote location, you can view all of the service requests you have submitted in one spot so you can easily track the statuses. And then we have our knowledge articles. Our knowledge articles are full of information. Every service that Prince George's County provides, we have a knowledge article on it that is full of answers. So please check those out. Here are a few things that you can do to help ensure that you have a successful experience with submitting a service request to the county. Our new app makes it super easy to upload a photo. So let's say someone dumped a sofa on the sidewalk. You can actually take a picture of that sofa on the sidewalk and upload it directly into your service request. What that does is it makes it super easy for the agency to know and understand exactly what they're going out to. They can see where the sofa is located. They can see how big it is. Do they need help? Do they need extra support to remove it? That type of thing. Those photos are helpful. Our new and improved location services. Our new app has a drop a pin feature. So not everything has an address, or maybe you don't know exactly what the address is. So again, a pothole, for example, you're riding down the street, you hit a pothole. Potholes don't have addresses, but if you pull out your app, you can drop a pin exactly where you are, and it's going to pinpoint that exact location. All right, and then of course, while you're entering the service request, you're going to receive informational text and alerts. And of course, we have our knowledge articles. We want you to read this information because it's going to help set your expectations. You're going to know exactly what to expect when you submit a service request, and you may even get some of the answers that you need without even needing to submit a request. All right, and of course, register for an account. You register for an account and you can easily track your service request throughout the lifestyle of that request from submission to completion. Our new system makes it easy for you to provide feedback. We want to hear from you. We want to know, what was your experience like submitting a service request, whether you submitted it on the mobile app, on the web portal, or you called the call center. How easy was it to submit a service request? Did you get helped appropriately? Also, once the service request is completed, were you satisfied with the outcome? We want to know. Your feedback helps us improve. So take out the time to provide feedback. All right, so this is a screenshot of what our app looks like when you're able to download it from the App Store. Again, don't go run to the App Store just yet. You won't find it because our system is not yet live. All right, so just give me one moment and I'm going to transition from my computer to my phone so that I can show you a demonstration of the new system. One moment. All right, so here's my phone. You see the app at the top left-hand corner. That is what the logo will look like. So PGC 311, we're gonna go ahead and open up that app. All right, so this is your new home screen. The top tile labeled request is where you will submit service requests. The second tile labeled recent is where you can see recently submitted service requests across the county. So maybe you're wondering, did somebody already report that pothole in front of McDonald's? If you're go into this recent tab, you can see that it has in fact already been submitted. So you may not need to report it a second time. The third tile labeled My Request. If you register for an account, every service request that you submit would be housed right here. You go straight to this tile and you're able to follow the status of your service request. And then we have our knowledge articles at the bottom. This is our recommended starting point before you submit a service request. Start with our knowledge articles. Read up on that service. You may get your answer before even needing to submit a service request. So I'm going to demonstrate what our knowledge articles look like. All right, so after I click on knowledge, this is the screen that I will get. Towards the bottom, you can see our trending articles. These are some of our top most searched topics at the time, so they frequently change. So you can select one of those topics and read right there, or you can go to our search bar and type in a topic that you're interested in. So if I type in the word trash, it'll bring up all trash related knowledge articles. Or in today's demonstration, we'll do sewage. So if I click sewage, it's gonna open up that knowledge article, and all of our knowledge articles are written in question and answer formats. So you're able to read through this knowledge article, and at sometimes we have embedded links. So if a question leads to a service request needing to be submitted, you will simply select that link and it will take you directly to that service request that you need to submit. Also in our knowledge articles, we have telephone numbers. That telephone number is a live link. You can simply select that telephone number and it will call that number directly from within the app. All right. At the very top, you see a date. That's how recently this knowledge article was updated. So our goal is to keep this information as up to date as possible. So that date right there will stay frequent, okay? So I'm gonna go back to the mobile app so I can continue the submission of my request. I've read my knowledge article and now I wanna submit a request. All right, so I'll click the request tab up top. And this is where I'm going to search my service request. Our new system is able to search on keywords. So you don't need to know the exact name of the service request. For instance, if I go into the search bar, let's say I type in the word debris. It's going to bring up all of the service requests that may potentially pertain to debris. Although debris is not in the name of the service request, they still pulled up. So if I want to report trash in my neighbor's backyard, I would select private property concerns. All right, let's say I couldn't find it by searching a keyword, or I didn't know the name of the service request. I can type other. And what that does is it gives me a complete list of all of the service requests that are available for me to submit. All right, I'm going to select sewage and water pollution. All right, and before I actually begin this service request, it gives me a description of what this service request is used for. This way I can ensure that I'm submitting the right service request before I actually begin. So I can read the description, I can see the agency that is responsible for responding to this request, as well as an estimated resolution date. So this service request can take approximately 30 days to be completed. Let's say I've read this description and it doesn't fit my needs and I need to go back and find a different service request. I simply do that by navigating the arrow on the top blue ribbon and hitting that arrow, and it's going to take me back to that main list of service requests to choose something different. But I'm going to continue with sewage and water pollution. So I'm going to select the service. All right, and this is our map feature. So remember earlier, I told you about that drop a pin feature. So if I was currently at a location and I did not know the address, I would simply tap that blue arrow and it's going to narrow down to my exact location at that time. And you would simply hit confirm and then move on in the service request. Or you can type in the address, if you know it, in the top search bar. So I'll type in the address. All right, so I've typed in my address, and then you see a line called address details. So if this is an apartment or a business location that has a unit number, you would type in that information right here. So let's say it's apartment 109. Once I type that in, I hit confirm. All right, so now that has moved me on in the service request. This is where I'm going to enter all of the details of the service request. Earlier, I mentioned adding a photo to your service request. So if you touch add file, you get options. You can either take a photo directly from your camera if you happen to be at the location, and you can take a photo right there. Or maybe you took a photo earlier when you were walking the dog. So in that case, you can go to your gallery and you can select a photo. All right, so I'm gonna upload a photo of this sewage. And you see, once I upload that photo, it automatically attaches that photo directly to my service request. All right, so now we're going to begin to answer the questions. The first question says, what is the nature of your issue? And it's going to give you a list of options. So before I go down the list, I'm going to start with the very last one. It's labeled drinking water quality issues inside of a building or home. So to me, it made sense to come to a service request about water pollution if I'm having water quality issues. However, if I select that option, the system is going to tell me that this is not the right service request for that complaint. And instead, that I should enter a service request for drinking water quality in wells. All right, once I acknowledge that alert, it's going to actually provide me a link directly to that service request. So if I touch the word drinking water quality in wells, it's going to automatically transfer that service request, and all of the information I've entered up until this point will automatically go over to that new request, including the address. All right. So I'm going to go back and change my answer. Let's say that I'm reporting sewage overflow. All right. So now you see a second question has popped up. So based on the answer that I provided, the system needs to ask me another question. So now it's asking me, where is the sewage flowing to? If I select public roadway, unfortunately, the county does not respond to sewage overflow on the roadway. Instead, that is a WSSC issue. And in that case, we will provide you a telephone number directly to WSSC. And you see, it is another live link. So if I select that phone number towards the bottom of my screen, you can see, again, I can call directly from within the app. I didn't have to write down the telephone number and go dial it in my phone. It is automatically going to call it right here. All right. So I'll just hit OK and acknowledge that. So I'm going to change. Oh, and also note that the continue button right now is grayed out. It's grayed out because you're putting information for a service request that the county does not provide. All right, it is a WSSC issue, so you cannot continue. However, if I change my answer to my private yard or property, it gives me another question. All right, so now if I answer the next question, do I have a private septic system or public sewer? I'll go ahead and hit private. All right. And here's a different type of alert. This is more of an educational alert and helpful alert. So in the meantime, while the county is responding to this request, you as the resident should consider contacting a licensed septic hauler to stop any immediate overflow until we can get there. All right, so once you acknowledge that alert, you see that continue button is now blue. I have fulfilled all of the requirements and I can move forward in my service request. We also have a field here called additional information. You can add any additional information you believe would be helpful to respond to this, because maybe the questions above did not give you the opportunity to provide information that you think would be helpful. So I'll just put in something simple as an example to say, the sewage is in my backyard. Okay. And then once I type that in, I'll just hit continue. This is our contact screen. This is where you will enter your contact information. Some of our service requests require contact information and others do not require contact information. However, in any circumstance, you are always recommended to provide your contact information. That helps in the event that for whatever reason, the agency needs to contact you for additional information on the issue. And also you receive updates. Every time you provide your email address or your phone number, you will get updates about your service request, okay? And I think it's very important to say that your contact information will never be shared with anybody, okay? It is only to be used by the agency to either one, update you or contact you for additional information. In this instance, this service request requires contact information. And you can see that it's indicated by the red asterisks next to the different fields that are required. It's because it's on my private property. So I have to allow the county to access my property. So they're gonna have to call me. So that continue button is currently grayed out because I need to provide a telephone number. So I'll go ahead and provide a telephone number. All right, and now that I've entered a telephone number, you see that continue button is now blue and available for me to use. I'll select continue. All right, so now one last time before I submit the service request, it allows me an opportunity to review all of the information that I've entered up until this point. All right, so in the event that anything looks like I may have typed it in wrong, I have the opportunity to update it before I submit it. That way, when the agency receives it, everything is accurate and it's going to get responded to in a timely fashion. So if that address was actually 7123, then I will go ahead and change that address now. But everything looks accurate. So I'm going to go scroll down and hit submit. All right. And once I have submitted this request, I'm going to get a confirmation that it was successfully submitted with this green check mark. And just below that, it gives me a service request number. The service request number is unique and connected directly to this request. And below that, you see an expected resolution date. If you remember in the beginning of the demonstration, when we first selected this service type, it had an estimated resolution timeframe of 30 days. No one really knows what the exact date is when you give me 30 days or 120 days. So after you actually submit it, it translates that timeframe into an actual date. So now I know that my service request should be completed and responded to by November 25th, 2021. All right. And just above that is a link. That link allows you to click that link and it's going to take you to that My Request tab in your app. And it is going to allow you to follow this service request as it gets completed and worked. And once again, our mobile app is the exact same as the web portal for those who do not use a mobile device. This is available on the web as well. Okay, and that does complete my demonstration.
Hello, hello. I have a few questions. The first one is, you mentioned the system only allowing one person to submit a request. This doesn't allow the other person to know when the service request has been completed. How is that being addressed, or how should that be addressed?
Okay, so the new system, it doesn't prevent you from submitting another request. You can definitely submit another request. It will just tag it as a duplicate, but you'll still get your own tracking number and be able to follow it as well. So when that first service request has been completed, yours will be updated as well.
Great, great, great. Next one, what is the timeline for launching this app?
Unfortunately, we do not have a timeline that we are announcing at this time, but we do hope for it to be live very soon. And again, once that information has been finalized, it will be plenty of marketing on that, so you all will be aware of it.
Okay, thank you. And
Can I interrupt before? But are we talking a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year? Is it any like time?
It's in the near future. The near future, it's not, really drawn out. We just can't say an exact time frame right now.
When you were doing your demonstration, you showed that there were these areas that had pre-populated information. What if there's a scenario that isn't listed in any of the pre-populated options?
Our service requests have been pretty detailed when we've spoken to the agency, and we've included almost any and everything that could possibly need to be reported. If it's not one particular service request, there's a large possibility that it wasn't the correct service type, and then we just need to go back and find the right one. But there should be a service type for almost any situation.
But in the slight chance that is not on the list, what can they do?
In the slight chance that you just absolutely cannot find it on the mobile app or the web portal, please give the PGC 311 call center a call, and our call reps would definitely be able to route your request to the right place.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's, we always like to wait. Let's give 8 seconds to see if there are any more questions from the Facebook group. All right. Thank you so much. And if there are any other questions that we have, we'll make sure they get sent to you, and we'll put those answers on our website. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
We really appreciate you and Ms. Crump coming out, and we look forward to when this new PGC 311 gets launched. Thank you so
Yes,
much. For your
you're
time.
welcome. You're welcome.
So, Mr. Harrison, we
All
want
right.
to
Next speaker.
Yes.
Our next speaker is Shawana Fabui, principal of Allenwood Elementary. So, Ms. Bowie holds a Bachelor of Arts degree and a Master's in Education degree from Howard University. She is currently completing a doctorate in Educational Leadership and Policy from the University of Maryland. She is a co-author of the Virtual Learning Parent University Playbook, which teaches organizations how to effectively engage in families. So let's give a warm Wildcats roar for the proud principal, Shawana Fabui. Ms. Fabui, you have the floor.
Hello, good evening, Camp Springs Association. My name is Shauna Fabui, and as stated, I am the proud principal of Allenwood Elementary School. So our address is listed as Temple Hill. So we're right at the end of the cul-de-sac of 6300 Harley Lane. Often, very many people don't know where we are, but we are one of several elementary schools in the Camp Springs area, Temple Hill, Oxon Hill area. Based on who we're communicating with, we have a different location, but our zip code is 20748. We also feed into the middle school of Thurgood Marshall, and then we feed into our students matriculate on to Oxon Hill High School, Crossland High School. So from Allenwood to Thurgood to Crossland. And so tonight I've been invited to answer some questions and share some information about how the school system and specifically Allenwood is doing at this time. Please pardon me, our school day begins at 7:15. So at this time, most of the Allenwood Wildcats are in bed, and that includes the teachers as well.
Right, welcome. Thank you so much for your time. What has been your challenges now that you are physically in the building?
So that's a question that we get very often. And of course, in education, we're always optimistic. So it's not so much a challenge as it is an opportunity to be in person with our students again, taking advantage of really being able to see our students, the whole child, identifying things that you cannot see across a Zoom platform, making sure that our students are getting meals every day, that we're supporting what the parents would like to have them doing as far as their social and emotional components, interacting with other classmates. Unfortunately, we don't get to see very many smiles because we do have to wear masks. But as far as challenges, we face the same challenges that most businesses are facing at this time. You know, there are situations of short-staffed in the sense that staff do have to quarantine if their children might be exposed or someone in their family and things of that nature. So in those instances, staff are required to take leave. Sometimes our students as well, based on their personal circumstances and who they come in contact with, may also have to be absent. So we are dealing with that particular challenge as far as the consistency around who's in the building. The other thing is we had to learn how to function differently with our social distancing protocols. You know, we're required to be 3 to 6 feet in distance between students at all times. That being said, students are not accustomed to not being able to hug and high five and, you know, share resources and things of that nature. So we had to develop a new culture where it is cool to have your personal space and have your own materials. And we celebrate safety, self-care, washing hands, wearing masks, and things of that nature. So I guess the biggest challenge is just accepting the changes. And in education, there's always something new.
That's true. Thank you. So what are the remote learning options if my child was quarantined or isolated?
So that's a very layered question because there's quarantine and then there's isolated and then there's remote learning and virtual learning. So there's a lot of new terms that are in place now with learning. So students in Prince George's County, unlike many other school systems, have been afforded the opportunity at the elementary level to have a virtual learning option until December, January. And that was put in place by our CEO in order to allow our students to stay in their homes in an environment that they feel most comfortable until the vaccine is available. And so come January, our students will more than likely matriculate back into the schools. And those are our virtual students who receive instruction over Zoom, similarly to how we're communicating here, on a daily basis. So our teachers in the county and in Allenwood are very well versed on doing this because, of course, you know, we've spent almost a year and a half where we were completely virtual, and then half of the year prior to that when we were, you know, thrown into the virtual environment. So there's many new technology platforms and things of that nature. Now, if a student receives a quarantine during the course of the school year where they're an in-person student, then that student would have to quarantine for the time period that has been allocated based on their symptoms or their level of exposure. And of course, that varies based on exposure and if you were directly exposed, indirectly exposed, there's different numbers of times where you have to quarantine. And then if you exhibit symptoms yourself, there's a period of time where you would have to quarantine. And that's just symptoms. And so when a student is placed in that situation, they have various options. The school system has developed virtual learning and isolation, quarantine plans in every school. So for our school, students receive, they have the option of receiving homework packets and things that they can do at home. They also have lessons that are uploaded onto our virtual platforms such as Google, Class Dojo, Zoom, that the students can access on their own or with their parents and that are self-paced, which still allows them to interact with their teachers. And in some instances where the students are already virtual, then they have live instruction virtually. If a student is isolated, that means that a student has COVID, and therefore most often they may or may not be in a condition where they can actually access the work. And in that instance, just like a sick absence, which we've always had, they're giving the time frame after they return with a valid note to complete the work that they have missed. But if they are able to function as we hope that they are, then they would use the resources such as I've mentioned previously. So it's a lot. Just know that if a student cannot physically come to school, they will still be able to access their education.
That's a very thorough answer. Thank you so much. How are you keeping parents and caregivers updated on any changes in the school's prevention strategies?
So there is consistent information that is always available on the Prince George's County website. We have Engage PGCPS, where information for the parents in multiple languages is always available there. And then each school, and Allenwood included, we have our social media, our Twitter, our we don't use Snapchat, and some people use Instagram. The kids use the Snapchat, but we have Facebook accounts. A very popular platform that we use is Class Dojo. It's used during the school day or around the clock. It's an app that's on the parent's phone that allows teachers and the parents to communicate almost like a text message process. And so through those channels, as well as the traditional channels of sending notices home and things of that nature, we provide information. Allenwood specifically, we do a parent university, which allows us to, have forums with parents where it's more of a conversational platform. And we discuss things that the parents may bring up, or we provide topics that are central to our community at that time. So we started that just at the turn of the pandemic, and it's really been a good, comfortable environment to still stay connected to our parents. And that's where the book came in, the virtual learning playbook for parent universities, because it guides schools and organizations through that process. And basically, we just shared best practices that we did at Allenwood.
Wonderful. What is your school doing to support students' social, emotional, and mental health this academic year?
Well, thankfully, like many of the schools in Prince George's County, we have a dynamic professional school counselor who does classes with our students, as they always have. We have it built into the structure of the day, where the students have lessons throughout the week that are provided by our professional school counselor. We also have an open door policy in the sense that the teachers are professionally developed, is the best word, on how to identify students who might be in crisis and things of that nature, or might be in need of some additional social and emotional supports. And that is also communicated to our professional school counselor. We ourselves receive training to identify when a student is in need. We reach out to our parents as well. And we really try to keep our day as kid-friendly as possible. They do go outside for recess. We do offer incentives for doing your homework, doing the right things, participating in class. We are a PBIS school, so it's positive behaviors, interventions, and I think supports is what PBIS stands for, where we incentivize the students. And so a lot of the good practices that really make students like and enjoy school, we really try to make sure that those are continued. Outside of that, we have the services that we've newly adapted, which allow us to go more in depth with the students and provide some of the social and emotional supports that might arise out of the pandemic.
Awesome. What strategies does the school have in place to help mitigate learning loss?
So I personally, and this is speaking personally, don't subscribe to the learning loss, because learning is an ongoing process. So our students learned a lot about technology. They've learned how to wear masks. They've learned how to adapt to structures within their homes, build stronger relationships with their parents and pets, household chores, got a really in-depth time to spend time in their cultural environments, built relationship with external family members, learned about being safe and healthy and self-care at a very high level. So those are some of the things that the students learned during the pandemic. They learned empathy and sympathy. They've learned to deal with tragedy and become resilient in some instances. So there was a lot of learning for all of us that took place. New vocabulary such as pandemic. Now that's a multisyllabic word that they could probably do very well in a spelling bee around. So there was a lot of learning that took place. But when people refer to learning loss, I know that they are thinking about the academic piece where there's reading, writing, and arithmetic and such. So for that, we have many programs where we have interventions that are being done throughout the school day. So to name a few programs, we have technology programs like iReady and Dreambox, which are adaptive programs. And what they do is allow students to work at their pace around the skills that they may be struggling with. So specifically, at a grade level, we have grade level expectations. A second grader is expected to do search and skills. However, due to not having been in school, they may not have acquired those skills. So on that program, those technology programs, it allows them to work at the level they may be on. It might be a kindergarten level, and arguably it might be a fourth grade level, but that is adaptive and it adjusts to where those students are at that time. We also have our different schools call it different things, Wild Out Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday, Wonderful Wednesdays, where we really hone in on small groups and we do what we call differentiated instruction. That means we're meeting the students at their point of need and providing the hands-on direct teaching. And let me preface that hands-on. Let's say direct teaching around the needs that the students are demonstrating that may not necessarily be where we are in the curriculum, but a point in time where we can break students up into small groups and meet them at their academic level and ensure that we are tracking their progress throughout. So there's a lot of data that we are really using and a lot of testing that is still happening, but we don't believe in loss. We believe in continuous and ongoing growth, and students are always learning. So we just want to build on that.
Yes, I completely agree. This is probably one of the most important questions that you'll receive tonight. What can the community do to assist you?
And interestingly enough, when I was presented with the questions, I was like, okay, the first 4, 5, 6, those are those traditional questions. That's the work that we do every day. We're educators, we know what we're doing when we get into that building and we're ready to serve the students. But what can the community do is one that was really the most difficult one to think about, because the ways in which the community at large has previously been able to help us, such as coming in, volunteering, participating in our activities, donuts for dads and muffins for mom and granolas for grandparents and reading to our kids and being there for field day and things of that nature are most of the ways that we like to connect with our community. But because we have to socially distance and find new ways, some of the areas where we do need support are in the PPW, so protective gear. Every day when students walk in, based on the condition of their mask, we present them with a new one. And so on any given day, we're giving out maybe 100 masks from our 385 students, or during the course of the day, they may, soil it or lose it or tear it because, they're kids. So always use more masks, children's masks specifically, which have been on back order. Another area that's very much needed is in the area of regular school donations. A lot of our parents during the course of the pandemic, they have work situations that don't always afford them the additional resources to buy the prettiest notebooks and pencils and papers and things of that nature. So traditionally, we always need donations in that respect. We have fundraisers and cash is always king. So if you want to donate to, the fund, we can always use it to buy uniforms and school supplies and things of that nature. So financial donations are always welcomed. Lastly, but most importantly, at the front line, working with the students on a daily basis, are our teachers. And teachers, if you know any teacher, they give of themselves in a very big, and we like to celebrate what they do. So any offerings of lunch, dinner, breakfast, t-shirt, a card, a letter, anything that celebrates our teachers and what they're doing, reach out to your local school if it's not Allenwood, and touch base with the principal and see what efforts he or she might be working towards to celebrate the teachers, because the teachers are on the front line with the students every day. And you know how they say a happy wife, a happy life, you know, a happy teacher, a happy kid, a happy school, a happy community. So anything that we can do to celebrate our teachers. And in lieu of all that, the school system has partnerships with communities and businesses where you can actually partner with a school and work on specific larger initiatives to help move those school goals forward. And those can be found on the Prince George's County website.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think you hit on it a little bit. What's the best way for them to do it? I'm not sure if you want them to walk to the building and give you some cash. Who should they contact, or how should they get involved?
Well, if you are interested in donating financially, the thing to do for any donations or in any way, shape, or form is to contact the schools. You can call the schools, you can send an email to the principal, or you can go to the Prince George's County website and look for what community partners can do. Specifically for Allenwood, my email is my first name dot last name, Shona.Fabui at Prince George's County Public Schools, PGCPS, or the name of the school. Any of the schools, you'll find the principal, and you can contact by email or by phone. If there are donations that are given, you can always call the school and let them know you have a donation, so we can schedule a time to meet with you, meaning you can say, I'm coming to school at 9 o'clock, and we can be ready to meet you at 9 o'clock through the proper channels. If you do give a donation of the financial persuasion, just write a letter along with that and let us know how you would like us to use it. A letter must accompany any donation so that we can be sure to honor exactly the way that you would like to utilize it. But trust and believe, we always need support. Our students need support, our teachers need support, and partnering with the community is a major goal for every school in the school system, and especially Allenwood Elementary School.
Thank you so much. I do want to give 8 seconds to see if there's anyone from the Facebook group who has any questions.
So as you wait for those 8 seconds, Ms. Fabui, now you went through too quickly. Can you please spell your name and give your email address so that we can assist Allenwood Elementary School?
Awesome, I can definitely do that.
Thank you.
So first, they often call us Allentown, but we're Allenwood, and I always say all good to wood. So that's Allenwood, ALLENWOOD, and that's Allenwood Elementary School. So if you Google us, you will definitely find my name and my personal email. It's attached to the school. My email and my name and personal email is Shawna, SHAWNA dot, last name is Fabui, FAGBUYI at pgcps.org. And that's Prince George's County Public Schools.org. And, you know, we answer our emails around the clock, and systemically, we return all emails and phone calls to our best efforts within 24 to 48 hours. So we have a great model with our CEO. She is definitely connected to reaching out to the community and being responsive. And so modeling alike, we do the same.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We do not have any questions from Facebook. Thank you. This was great. You have a very important job, and we appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. You know, I remember the Camp Spring Civic organization was having meetings at Allenwood. So that was a location at a time. So we can't wait to have you guys back.
Ms. Fabui, it was a pleasure for you to come out and give us some information about Allenwood Elementary School. We want to continue our partnership. Community, please, let's help Allenwood out. Let's help our other schools out. You heard what Ms. Fabui said. They need masks, children masks. They need school donations. They do some fundraising, and she said cash is king, queen. And if you want to celebrate one of the, and I call them, our instructors, our teachers, please do so. And please reach out, because that's, as a community, our key is to educate our students. So Ms. Fabui, with all of our principals. So we're going to reach out, and we want to bring back you along with the other principal. We're looking to see if we can do that in January. And so thank you for coming out tonight. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Lots of great information. I will come back, not as a presenter, but definitely as a guest. I love hearing all the different things that are going on in the community and being knowledgeable. I know our families will definitely like to know what's going on, and it's a great source of information. So thank you all for what you do in the community.
Thank you so much. So we need to move back a little bit. As Corporal Miller had indicated, we're no longer called districts, we're called divisions on our police force. And we have not heard from Division 5. And I believe we have Corporal Wayne Thomas on the line. Corporal Thomas, can you unmute and provide us a report for Division 5?
From the new Clinton division, no longer District 5. And I was filling in for Corporal Ponak this week. He's out. So I got the statistics from Corporal Ponak. It was only 3 stolen vehicles on the Clinton division side and 1 theft from auto. And around the county, I'm sure Corporal Miller probably advised y'all. The biggest thing to watch out for right now is most likely the carjackings, and the carjackings increase quite a bit. So my only advice to you all is to be aware of your surroundings and just to be safe. Y'all doing a pretty good job in preventing theft from autos from the crime report. And did I miss any questions or concerns from the Clinton division side?
Yes. There's a question about Club Ecstasy, the Nico Banquet Hall at 6306 Old Branch Avenue. They were told that they were supposed to be closed down. We want to know, are there any updates?
Didn't receive no updates on Club Ecstasy, but if hold on 1 second, turn my radio off. But if you email myself, I believe you still have my contact info.
If you could share it again, please.
My email is wlthomas@co.pg.md.us. I will contact Deepak and a couple of other people and see what's going on with is it called Ecstasy Nightclub?
Club Ecstasy,
Club
also known
Ecstasy.
as the Nico Banquet Hall.
Okay. Yeah, I'll double check on that sometime tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And we'll make sure we get that information out on our webpage and Facebook.
Okay.
If we could please just wait about 8 seconds to see if there are any questions from our Facebook group. Okay, does not look to be any. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
No problem. Good seeing y'all again. I know I haven't seen y'all for several years. It's nice hearing from y'all.
You too, Corporal Thomas. Too bad we couldn't see your face tonight.
You know I'm not handsome enough to show my face.
Yes, you are. But thank you for filling in for Corporal Ponak. We really appreciate all the work that you all do. We know that it's not an easy job. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank y'all. And I'll try to come to a couple of more meetings so I can show my face.
We would love to have you. Thank you so much.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Did Miss Christmas, I'm sorry, Teresa Christmas, is she on the line, fire department? Okay, well, let's continue. Maybe she'll join us before we end our meeting tonight. Mr. Harrison, did you want to give us any information about how these wonderful people can become a member of the Civic Association? Did we lose?
Yes, membership. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. All right, membership. My name is Delonte Harrison. Again, I'm the Camp Springs Vice President of association. All right, so oh man, you really put me on. Okay, so I want to encourage all the citizens here at Camp Springs to join the Camp Springs Civic Association because we need you. Because there is strength in numbers, and when we come together, we can make change and help out the community even better. It's only $15 per household and $25 for businesses. This will keep you informed about great information from the government and about what's going on in your own community. And it also gives you a platform to express your service levels with your elected officials. The website that you need to join is campspringsca.org. That's campspringsca.org. And remember this one slogan before we move on. It's your job to make the government it's your job to make the government do its job, and and to make sure that they service the community. So it's up to you to make the government service community. We want to thank you all for coming out again. And Madam President, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Now, I just want to add to membership. Some of you don't like to go on the website to make payments. We do have another way. You can send your payment in by money order. You can do it by check, and you can send it to our P.O. Box, which is Camp Springs Civic Association, P.O. Box 1071, Camp Springs 20757. And make your check payable to, if you want to abbreviate it, put CSCA. So let's all come together to make a better community. And I just want to say again, we have not forgotten those who have reached out to us, who want to get involved in making our community better. We are going to schedule a meeting so we can go over the committee that you have chosen, that you said that you're interested in, that you can ask us questions so we can get started, because it will take all of us to better our community. Now, without further ado, one of our businesses that we would like to highlight tonight is Sampson Realty, and we have Miss Linda Hurd on the line. Miss Hurd, can you give us some information about your business?
Yes, I can. Good evening, everyone. And I am so happy to be here with the Camp Springs Civic Association. I had a great time last month at our craft market. That was the first time I got to meet a lot of you all. I really, really enjoyed myself. So again, my name is Linda Hurd, and I'm with Sampson Properties. and I live in the Walter Heights community of Camp Springs with my husband and my daughter and son. I am licensed in Maryland and Washington, D.C. And just a little bit about me. I know a lot of you all, first of all, heard a lot about the real estate market over the past 18, 19 months, how crazy it was. It was a hot seller's market. People were overbidding, just it was crazy. Thank goodness now things are starting to shift. Things are starting to get a little more balanced. More homes are being put on the market. Buyers are not having to offer crazy prices for homes. It was good for the sellers, but it was terrible for buyers. So things are starting to kind of get balanced out a little. We still have a ways to go, but we're heading in the right direction. To tell you a little bit about what I do for my clients / family. And I say family because you may start out with me as a client, but once we go to closing, we're family. We have built up a strong relationship that it's a lasting relationship. So I look at you as family. If you are interested in selling your house, what I do first is I come and I speak with you, and or we can do a phone consultation, and I find out what exactly any renovations or anything you've made, and I can set you up on an email system that whenever something becomes available, it's sold in your area. Let's say within a mile radius of your home, you get an email. And that lets you know what the house sold for, how many bedrooms it had, bathrooms, any modifications they made. So you can get an idea if you were to sell your home, what it could potentially sell for. Again, you get this email. If you're interested in purchasing a home, I do the same thing. We have a phone consultation. I find out what area you want to live in. You get an email as to, based on your criteria, what's coming on in that market. So you get like a firsthand to see things before the public does. I send out a monthly email to all my clients. This monthly email has all things real estate. It has real estate tips, home maintenance tips, has some recipes. Again, this is a monthly email that I send out to everyone. In addition to that, I have a buyer's and a seller's guide. This is seasonal, and this lets you know all things. If you're interested in selling your house, what you need to do. If you're interested in purchasing your house, some things to do to prepare your financing, things to do to get your house ready for selling. Again, this is all in this buyer's and seller's guide that I can send to you. I have a team that I work with, that I have preferred lenders that I work with, inspectors and contractors. So those are things you don't have to worry about, because again, when you're purchasing a house, you want to speak with the lender to get pre-approved. So I have all that ready. And let's see, last thing, like I said, if anything, let's say if you want to know how much a house sold for, contact me, I can give you the information. So again, if you are interested in downsizing, upsizing, or just you want to keep the same size, I would love to speak with you and give you more information. I can send you, if you're interested in being part of this email, let me know. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I just enjoy where this organization is going. I'm excited. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Hurd. But Ms. Hurd,
yes, ma'am.
You haven't told them how to get in contact with you.
Hey, thank you, Miss Taylor. Okay, so my email, again, my name is Linda Hurd, H-U-R-D. My email address is lindahurd.realtor, REALTOR, @gmail.com. I'll say it again, lindahurd.realtor @gmail.com. My number is 301-971-4064. 301-971-4064. Any real estate related questions, feel free, call me, send me an email. Thanks so much, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
You need to sell, buy. We had one of our own.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for coming out
Thank
tonight.
you.
So I have some announcements. I'll ask again, did the fire department come on tonight? Okay, we'll get that. Hopefully we'll get them out next month to give us a reporting, since we're going into the cold winter season. So first announcement, this is going to be our last Camp Springs cleanup for the season. It's going to be this Sunday, October the 17th, from 1 to 3 p.m. We're going to be meeting at 6966 Temple Hill Road. That's at the Bank of America. Now, we would like for you to register. So you go to campspringsca.org to register. And we're also giving out student service hours. So again, 6966 Temple Hill Road. Let's go out with a bang as we started our cleanup. Again, this is our home. We have to take care of it. We can't depend on others. We have to do our part also. So we're also partnering with our county executive, and at October the 30th, there is a Growing Green with Pride cleanup that will be held on October the 30th. Now that one will be held from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We will meet at 6307 Allentown Road in the parking lot of 2nd Avenue Thrift Store. Please be on the lookout on the website for a reminder and registration. We want to, before we close, is there anything that we have not covered? Unmute if we have something that we have not covered. Well, I want to thank you for your time. We will see you next month at the November the 11th meeting. I want everyone to remember in 2022, there's upcoming elections and we want to get ahead of it. We want to empower and educate our community on how our government works. So we have a fantastic panel to inform you how the government works for you, that we all have the power in our hand, but we have to know how to use it. So please stay tuned for our November the 11th meeting, which is always, same time, 7 a.m. We will be on the Zoom, the Facebook platform. So again, thank you. Have a good night and God bless.
Good night and thank you, ma'am. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much.